What up, guys? That Comic Awesome here with another review doing Swamp Thing, Winter Special number 1. I kind of want to make this short because, honestly, I want you to go buy this. This is amazing. Tom King, once again. This is very reminiscent of Batman Annual number 2, which, if you didn't read that, also an amazing piece of... just a great comic book, a really good story, and that's what this is. It's a good story, but this isn't like Saturday morning cartoon comic, which Swamp Thing never really was, but this is a very symbolic, introspective of a story. And let's just jump in. So, to me, what really started kind of hitting it off, there's this commentary of this quarterback from the Gotham Knights who, in the first half, dominated the team, was killing it, pretty much led the game, but in the second half, he just couldn't pull it together. He couldn't pull it together. When you have this great art, the art in here is so awesome. I don't want to bend the book back too much, because again, it's thick and I don't want to ruin the cover. So we're gonna hold it. But anyway, so you have this really good art. You have this commentary of this quarterback, and he ends up saying, through all of it, he's like, I thought I had a concussion, which you'd never hear a football player go to his coaches and be like, I think I have a concussion. No, they'd be like, no, coach, I'm fine. Get me back out there. Let me play. But he says, I thought I had a concussion. I thought this, I thought that. I just kept missing. He's like, and then I just noticed it was the monster. And that's very important. It was the monster that got me. So it's so you're on a football field and the monster got you. But even in that, there's some really good symbolism. So then we get to, the swamp has now turned to winter. And we get Swamp Thing. Again, look at this art. It's so good. And he's traveling with this kid. And it just says later. Which, again, to me, that's a little cliche from the Batman Annual number 2. It kept saying later to advance the story to the important plots to show that a lot of time has passed. So we see later he rips off his hand and he puts it down. It starts a fire, and there's a kid, and he's talking about hey, you're not a monster. The snow monster is the monster, and you've been fighting him. And he's like, well, I can't really remember. He's like, whenever there's not a lot of green, I can't, I don't think straight. I don't have a lot of power. This and that. So he's like, it's always the snow monster. He's like, I don't remember. So the kid describes the first time he fought the snow monster. So that lets you know already they've been at this for a while, running from this snow monster. And then they come across a bear, and I love this, the way that Swamp Thing kind of articulates things. He says here, he's like, I don't have another way to return you to where you belong, so you must travel the longer path. And it's kind of a neat, he says, when the snow melts, I will come for you to the green, and I will find you, and I will guide you. So it's almost like, look, friend, I can't make you hibernate again, but you're endangering me. Unfortunately, I have to kill you. And again, look at this. I mean, the art in this is probably, it's amazing. I loved every page of this. So then, so he ends up doing a vine spike up through the bear. So it looks so good. And then, of course, he goes back to the kid, and the kid says, you're not a monster. You saved me. And so it goes on kind of like this, where they keep, and this is where it kind of starts getting, a little Groundhog Day-ish, if you will. Through every panel. So then they come across, a hunter, a bunch of bodies, but this one hunter is still alive, and he kills Swamp Thing, blows his head off. But of course, he doesn't. Once again, he says, I can't return you to your home. You're going to have to take the long path. Means you're done. You're done. But then, so the kid, throughout the next couple panels, like, oh, this morning, he almost got me. Like, but you almost killed him. You're so brave, and you're doing this, and you're doing that. Like, I hate that snow monster. He's like, and he just constantly telling the kid, the kid's constantly telling Swamp Thing about these encounters that he's having with this snow monster, and he still can't remember. And this is where it kind of starts showing, when I was like, like, I'm going to do this, and I have my fingers to my chin. I'm like, So, the kid has frostbite on his foot, and he's saying, like, I need to remove the rot. And the kid says, no, you're a monster. Like, you're just doing this because you're a monster. And he, so he makes a saw out of his hand, and he cuts his foot off. And then it goes right back kind of to them at a warm spot. You can't really see what's going on, but you assume it's later that evening. And then this is what's weird. And I was like, kid has 2 feet again. And then another strange thing happens. The kid loses his hat, and then of course it's back. And if you notice, Swamp Thing is constantly getting, thinner and thinner. I don't want to ruin too much of this because it's really good, and I want to flash to the very end. And it shouldn't spoil anything, but so you kind of get the return of the commentary of the football player, of how this monster got him. And I don't want to show that page. It looks too good. But it essentially goes on, and he says, the best explanation he can come up with, or maybe it was just an excuse, after basically humiliating his team. So this quarterback, again, had an awful performance, and all he can come up with was a monster got him. And so the commentators are kind of ragging him. It's like, well, why didn't you, why couldn't he come up with a better excuse of, it was the defense had me, the defense had it, I just didn't get enough reps, I was messing up, it was my fault, this and that. And he even then says, like, why couldn't, look in the mirror, people, what do you see? There's nothing to be afraid of, okay? The only monster out there is you. And it's like, you get this cover, and it perfectly symbolizes what is in this comic, that you have to overcome the monster that is within you, that you are the monster, you are your own monster. In any sense of the word, your own worst enemy is yourself, and you have to overcome that. That's what I got out of this, and I loved it. I loved it. Go buy it, go read it. Tell me what you think this book is to you. I'd love to hear it. Subscribe over here, watch some more videos. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time.